Hello everyone. Alright, so the point of this video here is today I'm going to show you how to do some basic microgreening. Basically what microgreens are is if you picture like a little sprout or something you can buy in the grocery store, it's essentially the same idea except you grow it out for a few more weeks, 1 or 2 more weeks usually. And in doing so you find that there's a higher nutritional value among several other things. They also typically tend to have a stronger taste. The nice part about this is you actually don't really need that much as far as equipment goes. This is just a basic, takeout container from a local restaurant, a scoop to get soil out, a mister here just to water everything once it's all set, and a seed packet here I actually bought from a local store. I had to go back because I missed talking about this the first run through here. All you really want to look for in your seed packet is just to make sure that it has the organic label there. You don't specifically have to have like a certain label. You just prefer it to be organic, and the only reason you really want that in these is most non-conventional seeds or just seeds in general used in typical agriculture is going to be treated seeds, so you can apply like glyphosate and other herbicides and pesticides to it when it's in the field. And just by buying stuff that's certified organic, you're not going to run the risk of potentially having those pesticides contaminate your seed and thus your food when you actually go to eat these. So I guess to start off with, I just bought this gigantic bale of soil here. There's nothing too specific really about it. This particular blend here, let's try to do that, is basically sphagnum moss here. So that's typically what you'd find in like a growing greenhouse kind of thing if you have any of those where you're locally from. And all that's really going to do is give high porosity in the soil. It's going to have good airflow. It's not going to have the same kind of water retention you would with a clay per se, but it's going to have mobility to go up and down in our little container here. So I guess with that in mind, I'm just going to get to filling it up. Oy. I should have thought this through clearly, much more beforehand. So you don't actually need all that much soil to do this. You typically, an inch is kind of good. Again, you don't need even what I have set up here. Kind of thinner sidewalls like this takeout container are kind of nice because when it actually comes time to harvest, you can cut them instead of pulling the entire sprout up and then like ripping off the part that you're actually going to eat and disposing of the roots, or if you're going to do like soil repurposing, right? You throw some compost in, get the right carbon nitrogen mix, and right, you basically just compost with it for a few weeks and then come back and actually put it back into service. But got this little thing here. It's not too evenly dispersed, but again, for our purpose, it's not going to be a huge deal breaker or anything. I'll apologize about that there. I had a camera malfunction. So what I got here is broccoli, radish, red clover, and alfalfa. With the exception of the broccoli in here, this would actually make for a decent pasture grazing if you're going to do like beef cattle. I should open this bag beforehand. Alright, yet again another camera malfunction. I apologize again about that. So basically all you really got to do here is go in, get a nice decent handful, go over to your seeds, and move out of the light there. Basically just try to get a nice even dispersal over here, over your soil. You don't have to worry about making it too perfect. It's more so just trying not to overseed in one particular area so they compete and die. So I got my soil all nice and done here. So basically all you have to do now is, again, this is a mister, you don't particularly need to mist, you could just water it, but I like misting just so I can get water kind of on top of the soil without really disturbing it too much. As you can see, it's starting to get darker here, richer color. Gotta re-angle that. So after this, basically all you need to do is throw a lid on your container, just to keep it moist inside. You don't want to lose all that moisture to evaporation in the air. And then particularly all you do with this is you go and you just plop it down, typically somewhere where it's not going to get too much light. Seeds kind of just like to be dark when they're just starting off, because that's what they'd naturally get in the soil. And then in a few days, this particular bag here, I've found that typically in 24 to 72 hours, but usually if you average it out, the 48 hours, these will start to germinate. So the, I'll take this off for a sec. The radicle is a little thing here that comes out the bottom of the seed, and it digs into the soil, and then you actually get the plant itself to come out of the seed, right? The seed cracks and it's growing out of there. And then these are all dicot seeds. And after a few more days, about 2 more days, they will open up on top and you'll see the cotyledons, which are basically the first leaves. They're not really true plant leaves, but they start the photosynthetic process where it's going to take light and start using that to produce energy. But for this case, all you have to do is just put it somewhere dark, keep it relatively warm, right? You don't want to get too cold or it's going to hurt your germination rate. And then, and say, give or take 2 days, 2-3 days, they'll start to germinate. And after that, you can expose them to sunlight or grow light or whatever, any UV radiation. And they're going to, like, it'll turn the white tissue that's come out of the seed green, and it'll start feeding via photosynthesis. And from that point on, all you have to do is kind of just make sure they have water day to day, and they'll grow, and inevitably in a week or two, you can start to harvest and eat them. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you guys like this video or any of the information here, you have any questions, just like, comment, subscribe. I'll do my best to get back to any questions or comments or whatever you guys happen to leave in the videos. Thanks.